Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and another new video. In this video, I'm going to share with you such an amazing tool that will take your productivity to the very next level, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about observability driven development. And the whole idea is that let's say you're contributing to a very big project, okay? Let's say you're using a lot of microservices, you're using so many technologies and so many other things. And sometimes, oftentimes there are bugs or issues or something that may not behave as expected that would not be covered in the, let's say, tests, for example, right? And also when you're making, like when you're contributing to such a large scale project, oftentimes you're making like small changes, in chunks or whatever. And you don't really care about, what it does as a whole, but you want to know more about the specific changes that you made. Okay, I changed like 20 lines of code, 30 lines of code or whatever, or 100 lines of code, but what are the changes that I made? What are the effects for that, right? And not like for as a whole. For example, like, okay, what are the other things that are doing that I have no uh, that I did not even touch? And many times, these things get skipped. So we're going to introduce a new tool to the community here called Sprkl, and we're going to learn about it, and we're going to see how it will take your productivity to the very next level using the approach of observability driven development. So this is the website, as you can see over here. You can immediately see the impact of every code change execution right from your IDE. So I'm going to use VS Code. So things like security vulnerabilities, code level traces, errors, some of the hidden API calls that might be like, hidden from when you're running your tests, for example, the database queries, memory usage, and all these other things. So for most of these things, I will show you a hands-on demo in this video, and I'll show you how this thing is basically beneficial. And you can join the free beta over here. It's free to use. And here, a bunch of things that you can check out, like the basically the testimonials and stuff as well, and the benefits of observability driven development, lots of things, right? And this is basically how it works. So you can check out the data and the basically the architecture over here, and the platforms and the languages and everything that it supports, and some FAQs over here. So you can join the free beta. You can check out the links in the description below, and you can check out their docs. You can check out the blogs and everything, and you can also follow them on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, check out their YouTube channel and stuff. So we are going to start with a hands-on demo, and all these things that are mentioned over here, like how it's benefiting you and everything, we will explain these when we're doing it in action. Okay, so we'll learn everything with a demo. They also have this cool little, a coverage like a graph for you. So let's get started. Okay, so if we talk about the installation, you can first of all join the free beta. You can give it our email, and there you go. Cool, that's basically about it. Now you can download the app from the VS Code marketplace, and you can also check out the installation guide. So if we go to the marketplace, you can say just Sprkl. It's very simple, install it. Now we have it over here saying, you can sign up, you can give it your company name, first name, last name. It's very simple. You can do it from here as well. So if I say kunal@civo.com, Kunal Kushwaha, sign up. Very simple. That's it. How cool is that? So now we have our own little, here you can see that it has, steps to get started, the prerequisites, the resources, all the things are given over here. All the things are given, right? So we'll cover this in this video. And what I'm going to do is you can install you can install the client. These are my credentials. So I can install it. I can say new terminal. Here we go. Cool. You can add it in your path as well, but I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to create con. Yes, no worries. That looks good. And that is done. Almost done. Everything is fine. Verifying the dependencies. It's pretty straightforward to get started with. You can do it right from your dashboard as well, right? And they also offer like They also offer like a demo repository that you can use just to try it out and stuff like that. This is the one that we'll be using in this tutorial, so you can check it out. Okay, so that's done. I'm just going to do this. That's done. Install the client. Cool. So it's allocating the resources, and once this step is successfully completed, we will be redirected to our Sprkl home. That's done. Here we go. Sounds good. So now we are in the dashboard. Let's take a look at it. This is what you get, and the idea over here is that you have the basically a simple website, but it's basically using a lot of technologies, okay, like 3 databases and Express and all these other things. And this is a microservice based application. So let's say we make some changes. So the whole idea is like, okay, Kunal, we have this big project, then maybe we can add some sort of like changes to it. So if I go over here, and here we add some of the changes. So here it's saying you can add these changes over here. Okay, so you add some changes over here. If I just go back to my terminal and I go to terminal and I say git --pop. So these are the changes that have been made. So there's an update metrics. There's an update metrics, this handler over here. So this is a new REST handler, and this will basically retrieve stuff from our database, and it's going to count the days, when the basically when the buyers are making orders. So as you can see, it's saying Saturday plus plus or something like that. So it's going to check whether you're making it on weekdays or like Saturdays or something like that. And the way it's working over here, as you can see, it's retrieving the metric and it's then updating it. Okay, so that's basically about it. And some try catch like exception handling is happening over here. And we also have our index.js file. If we want to make these changes, there was one more thing. If we have our metrics or orders, index.js file. So here you can see that we have added this line over here. So every time someone else that will place the order, we have to call the handler, for which we have added this await line over here. Okay, so initially, like usually what you would do is, okay, you have this thing, and what you would do is you would let's say run it via Docker Compose. You would say Docker Compose up or something like that. But here you can actually run it via Sprkl. Here you can actually run it via Sprkl. So you do npm install, and here basically we can see that there's this tag called recipe uncommitted. Now, Kunal, what does this basically mean? So Sprkl is basically going to look at the code changes regarding the recipe. In this case, it's saying uncommitted changes. So it will look at the code changes and save this recipe on the side. If I just run this, okay, and you can check it out over here. Like what it's actually doing is, let me explain it to you. So when the code, it's basically looking at the code changes first of all, and regarding the recipe that we have provided, which is uncommitted, and running some jest tests or whatever. These tests should pass. All the ones should pass. That looks fine. But the interesting thing is over here that some of the API calls would not make sense, and this is something that the tests have not picked up. That is why we are using Sprkl. Okay, and I'll just show you that in a minute. So that's what is happening. And apart from that, when the code will instrument it, it will pull the recipe, and it will apply that instrumentation in memory, and it's going to summon that code in order to run it. Now the code that is being instrumented, it is the code. It's not the entire application. Okay, it is only the changes that we have made, and it's not even changing your code sample. You're like, okay, Kunal, is it changing the code that we made? No, it's changing it in memory. Okay, not on disk. And if you talk about like, okay, if it's working it in memory, are there any performance overheads or anything like that? Not really, because it's using open telemetry, which is pretty efficient in these terms. So it just ran jest tests and something like that. So that looks good. Now that's basically about it. Now we're going to go to our dashboard. So in a dashboard, we can see this thing like called the coverage and stuff, like our code changes. Whatever we're seeing over here is based on our code changes. And here you can see some of the things that we use. Okay, jest and all these other handlers and everything that were done. Recipe was uncommitted. Okay, Kunal, all the uncommitted changes that you have, this is the data for that. This is the data for that. And here I have 3 errors. Let's check errors first. Kunal, why do we have errors over here? So you can check out personal view, and here you can check out the global view as well. Okay, so there's a personal view and then there's a global view. So here the personal view is around all the changes that I have made and everything. Okay, so let's say I'm only concerned about that for now. So in errors, it's saying that even though the tests have passed, as you can see, there are some errors that have failed. Something is clearly not making sense to us. So three are the errors that we are getting. So if you go over here, it's saying an error occurred during an HTTP request. Okay, you can check it out which line this happened in, and there we go. This is the line that we added. It's not any random code change that made this error. This is the line that I added that made the error. That's what the beauty of this is all about. Here you can check out how it links with other services as well. Over here, you can zoom in and stuff, and you can visualize it if you want. But the main thing I want to show you is this thing. This is basically a personalized trace. Okay, a regular trace would show you something like the story of the entire infrastructure, but in this one you are only seeing the things that are relevant to you and the changes that you have made, and that is what I wanted to show you. So here, if we go, we check what is the error that is happening, and here it's saying like, okay, over here something, over here, if I go here, this is the error stuff, log, there we go. So it's saying error converting it. So converting circular structure to JSON, and here I can actually select also where I'm getting this error. So if we dive deep into the error, like, okay, this was the post request made on this, then this was the handler. Okay, no problem. Here we have it. Logs. Converting circular structure to JSON is the error. And where did we get this error? Here. And this is also the code that I made. It's not some random code over here. This is also the code that I made. Okay, so this is the error that we are getting. We can fix this, no problem. I can just fix this right now. Okay, so I can just convert to JSON over here, and this is fine, this is fine. Over here, this is okay. If new date, else, say metrics, and above await, I can just say const JSON is equal to, we just convert it into JSON, no problem. So I can say total counter is equal to metrics dot total counter, and Saturday's counter is not equal. This is the format. Counter is metrics dot Saturday's counter. That looks good. That's fine. Convert it into JSON. And here I can just say, instead of metrics, I will just put JSON. Okay, that looks good. Now the error should be gone. These errors should be gone. So you can see type error, converting circular structure to JSON. All these things are linked together. It should be gone now. You can try running it again. Okay, if I run this command again, the error should be gone now. Hopefully. It's building our changes, or again the recipe I gave, it was the uncommitted changes and stuff. All the errors are gone. Was this something that was visible before I was using Sprkl? No. Cool. So that is what I mean. Right? Okay, let's move forward. Cool. Now we're going to run some tests. We're going to see the coverage for it. Here we have it, and it's showing us like, okay, some of the coverage over here. One thing I want to share when I'm talking about the coverage part is that It's called diff coverage. Okay, when I'm saying coverage, it means diff coverage, because this is different from the regular coverage that you would get, because it relates to the code difference and it does not relate to like the entire application because of reasons I've mentioned previously, right? So it's basically according to the changes that you have made, and not like, okay, all the changes in the all the coverage in the, all the for the entire application that might not be relevant to you. So that is what I mean by when I talk about coverage over here. It's called diff coverage. Let's take a look at the other sections now, the coverage and the insights and the security one and all these other things. Now, the thing over here is that it's showing us related to the code changes that I have made. So we can happily know like, okay, the changes I made, these were the ones that are covered, and this was the one, like, for example, not covered. So we talk about not covered one, we talk about, let's say, this one, anyone you can take. Let's say this one, for example. So it's saying that this if clause was not covered because, well, today is Monday and today is not Saturday. That's why when we ran it, it was not covered. But basically that's what the information it's providing. So it's not getting like you're not getting it for the entire thing that you don't really care about, but only for your own code changes, because that's the recipe that I have provided. And you can filter these accordingly as well based on the recipe that you provide. Okay, so the next thing we have over here are called insights. Now, these are like, here we have the circular call and the the in-service orders, the in-service one, and this is not really like an error sort of a thing. It's just like, hey, Sprkl is telling us like these are the things that you can improve. Okay, so you can do it, you cannot do it, it's up to you. But it's sort of like if you want to make your code better, then you can check out the insight section. Okay, so you can see, for example, the first one, we can see what it's trying to tell us. Let's see what it's trying to tell us. So let's say we have this metrics one over here, and so you can see the metrics is calling itself. This is the one that it's telling us like, hey, this is basically not really, doesn't really make sense, you can improve this, right? So you can see it's a get request and it's making one to itself only. So we can maybe optimize this a little bit. Okay, and here you can see it's making a performance insight over here as well. So if we just go to orders, here you can see that it's making a post to payments URL, and here you can see this is the amount of time it's taking the API call, but there's like a few milliseconds of delay. So if we go back to where we added this, like over here, which we can see from the Sprkl, and it's saying that even though you have a wait in it, that's not behaving as expected. Reason being, we're using Fastify, so it's sending this this status course when you're using this one. So in order to fix it, I can just do it something like this, right? And then you can check out the interactions that it's making, and the calls that it's making on the handlers and everything. As you can see, the tests you can see over here. And the unchanged ones are, these are the tests that are running, but it did not really interact with the, let's say, the changes that you made, right? So it's not in reality affecting that. So this is basically what this changed and unchanged means. Last but not least, there's a security section that you can have more information on if you want to learn more about like how secure your code is and things like that. But you can learn more about all these things on the website. So you can highly recommend, I recommend you to check out the documentation. Okay, so this is a pretty cool new security feature that you can also test out. And Sprkl is the only way to uncover reached security vulnerabilities during runtime, and you can connect these vulnerabilities to a specific line of code, again to the changes that you made. So you can check out like, okay, I made the change in this file, that file, like we just saw, and this led to like pretty some security issues and things like that. So Sprkl can help you in figuring that out. One more thing I want to share is that in their new version, they have also released support for Kubernetes clusters. So now, from now on, you can get all the value in the Sprkl dashboard for your Kubernetes clusters as well. So what that means is that you can see the Kubernetes traces and uncover the Kubernetes blind spots, and Sprkl basically provides code level traces on top of the regular infrastructure, and it focuses on your relevant code changes. Okay, instead of going like over the entire app traces, which might not be relevant to you, because when you're working and when you're making your own changes, you want to see, okay, these are the changes I made. What did this cause? Did this cause any vulnerabilities, any issues, and how did they affect the coverage? What are the errors and things like that? So you really want to pinpoint towards what changes you made that affected to all these things, and that is what Sprkl basically helps you in doing. One more thing I want to share is, like, in the end, I just want to share this, all the support that it has to offer with more and more incoming. So you can check out one more thing over here, which is GitHub Actions. So Sprkl, they recently released for GitHub Actions as well for easier code reviews and team collaborations. So now basically you can see a Sprkl summary for, let's say, a good use case can be for every pull request, and then you can review it quickly without like even reading a line of code, because the whole idea with Sprkl was, like in the video that we just saw, that it's focused around the changes that you have made, and that is basically what a pull request is. So when you make a PR, you're like, hey, I made these changes in my branch, can you please merge it in your main branch of the project, or whatever. So if you incorporate this with Sprkl, like using in your GitHub Actions, for example, so for every pull request, it can automatically do like a check or a review or something like that. And like, okay, the changes that Kunal has made in his pull request, okay, coverage is fine, and no security issues, and scanning everything, and looks good to me, right? No errors and stuff like that. So, and if it does found any error that might not be visible to the eye, then it will be pinpointing that out as well, like, okay, this line number is not working out and stuff. So I think absolutely incredible what they did with GitHub Actions over here. Like, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, and you can check out other stuff over here as well. Cool. If you're watching this video and if you have any questions or any feedback, you can take a screenshot, share it on socials, and tag Sprkl, tag we make devs. If you have any questions, you can leave those in the description below. Oh, sorry, in the comment section below. And definitely, try it out. Try out this tool. A lot of great folks are using it. You can check out the testimonials, big tech companies, and amazing startups and stuff. And definitely a great way to increase your productivity. A lot of things that we discussed in this videos with the hands-on example related to how you can really miss out on a lot of things. So that it's what basically it shows, and really takes it to a whole new level when it talk about like what like in more information related to the changes that you have made. Okay, lastly, I would just like to say, you want to get started with it, you can get your own token. You can use the URL that I have in the description below, and you can check out all the resources in the description below, and like socials and docs and everything. And if you have any questions, leave those in the comment, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.